Angel Reese just delivered one of the most embarrassing performances of her career. And it wasn't just about the stats. It was about the way she completely fell apart on the court. From reckless play to unnecessary roughness, Reese put together a disaster-class performance that had everyone shaking their heads. The Lunar Owls brushed the Rose BC, and Angel, well, she did some rather interesting things on the court. And Napheesa Collier, well, look now, one thing we could say, they are not afraid of Angel Reese in the Rose BC, because after hitting the game-winning shot, Napheesa had some real words towards Angel Reese, but the best part, Napheesa Collier had enough of Reese's antics and made sure to teach her a lesson in the most brutal way possible. If you're looking for a masterclass in how to humble a trash talker, you're in the right place. Stick around because we're breaking down every hilarious moment that exposed Angel Reese for what she really is, a player more focused on theatrics than actual basketball. And trust me, the numbers alone tell the whole story. Angel Reese came into this game with her usual bravado, acting like she was ready to take over. But within minutes, it became painfully obvious that she was more interested in showboating than actually contributing to her team's success. Instead of playing smart, she spent the game trying to intimidate her opponents, throwing reckless passes and making one bad decision after another. Let's get into the numbers because, well, they're downright hilarious. Reese turned the ball over 7 times. Yes, you read that right, 7 turnovers. These weren't just minor mistakes either. We're talking about some of the most ridiculous errors you'll ever see at the professional level. At one point, Reese threw the ball straight into the backboard, rebounded her own pass like she was playing a game of catch with herself, and then stood there looking confused, as if she couldn't believe what just happened. Reese's overconfidence got the best of her as she took some of the most ridiculous shots imaginable, completely missing the mark. When she wasn't throwing up bricks, she was out there trying to play bully ball, constantly shoving and body-checking Napheesa Collier in an attempt to get in her head. But here's where the real fun begins. Instead of letting Reese's antics get to her, Collier did exactly what a real pro does. She stayed locked in, focused on the game, and completely exposed Reese for the fraud she is. Every time Reese tried to get physical, Collier responded the best way possible, by torching her on the scoreboard. Angel Reese's desperation reached a breaking point when she attempted one of the clumsiest defensive plays of the game. Trying to muscle her way into position, she completely lost her footing and flopped to the ground like a bad actor in a low-budget movie. The best part, the refs weren't buying it. No whistle, no foul, just an embarrassing moment that had fans shaking their heads. Angel Reese is the most unskilled basketball player in the history of basketball, in my opinion. She has no skills. She knows that she's not a very good basketball player. That's why she spends so much time half naked and taking pictures and promoting things that have nothing to do with basketball. Social media wasted no time roasting her for the ridiculous flop, with fans pointing out that for all her talk about being a physical player, she sure went down easy when it suited her. It was another brutal reminder that while Reese loves playing the villain, she doesn't exactly thrive when the pressure is on. Instead of stepping up and proving her dominance, she resorted to antics that only made her look more out of place. This is Angel Reese, the content creator side. It's pretty clear basketball is her top priority. I cannot imagine how anybody could view this athlete in any other way. It's clear basketball is front and foremost. This is all helping with things like shooting better from the field and missing layups. She has no rhythm, just like she can't make a layup. Practice layups. Only fans incoming. Meanwhile, Napheesa Collier stayed locked in. She didn't need to engage in the nonsense. Her performance spoke for itself. While Reese was flailing around, trying to make headlines for all the wrong reasons, Collier was delivering bucket after bucket, proving exactly why she's one of the best in the game. Every time Reese tried to get under her skin, Collier responded with pure basketball excellence. And just when you thought Reese's night couldn't get any worse, she made one final, laughable mistake. With a chance to help her team mount a comeback, she panicked under pressure and threw a pass straight into the hands of an opponent. Another turnover, another wasted possession, another moment of pure humiliation. I think Angel's more concerned about being an influencer, content creator, over being a better basketball player. By the end of the game, the contrast between the two players was crystal clear. Collier was the definition of professionalism, poised, disciplined, and clutch. Reese, she was nothing more than an overhyped player who let her emotions get the best of her. It was a night to forget for Reese, but for fans who have been watching her antics all season, it was just more proof that she's nowhere near the superstar she claims to be. This loss wasn't just another game for Reese, it was an exposure of her reckless, undisciplined style of play. While she's built her brand on trash talk and drama, games like this show exactly why she's not in the same league as real stars like Collier or Caitlin Clark. The difference between talk and talent was put on full display, and Reese walked away with nothing but another embarrassing loss. Angel Reese, never one to take responsibility for her mistakes, immediately went into damage control mode. Instead of acknowledging her reckless play and poor performance, she deflected, pointing fingers at everyone except herself. The refs, her teammates, the coaching staff, even the court itself, everything was to blame except for the one person actually responsible for her disaster of a night. It was classic Reese behavior. Act tough, play recklessly, and when things don't go her way, claim to be the victim. Meanwhile, Napheesa Collier and the Lunar Owls were celebrating, rightfully so. Collier had done exactly what a true leader does, stayed focused, played smart basketball, and delivered in the clutch. She didn't need to resort to cheap shots or trash talk. Her game spoke for itself. While Reese was busy flailing around and barking at refs, Collier was leading her team to victory with poise and precision. And when the moment came to shut Reese up for good, Collier delivered with a game-winning shot and a well-earned celebration right in Reese's face. And let's not forget the internet. Social media had a field day with Reese's meltdown. The memes started rolling in almost immediately. Fans roasted her 7 turnovers, her missed layups, and, of course, her final possession blunder. Some even joked that she was trying to set a record for the most embarrassing plays in a single game. One tweet summed it up perfectly. Angel Reese talks like she's Shaq, but plays like a YMCA hooper who just learned the rules. Others pointed out how Reese's entire game is built on unnecessary aggression rather than actual skill, and this performance was just more proof of that. But here's where it gets even worse for Reese. The WNBA is watching. Coaches, analysts, and even her own teammates are starting to see the pattern. Her reckless play isn't helping anyone. It's not winning games, it's not improving her skills, and it's certainly not earning her respect from the league's top players. Instead, it's making her a liability, and if she doesn't adjust her game soon, she might find herself getting fewer minutes, or worse, becoming just another overhyped player who never lived up to the talk. Let's be real. This was supposed to be a new era for Angel Reese. She came into the WNBA riding a wave of hype, marketed as a game changer, someone who could bring energy, attitude, and dominance to the league. But here's the problem. Being a game changer requires skill, discipline, and leadership. What we saw from Reese in this game was the exact opposite. It was undisciplined, careless, and at times, straight up embarrassing. Compare that to Napheesa Collier. She doesn't need antics to prove she's one of the best. She just goes out there and dominates the right way, with skill, composure, and leadership. She took everything Reese threw at her, absorbed it, and then hit her where it hurt the most, on the scoreboard. The contrast between Collier and Reese couldn't have been clearer. One played with maturity, the other with reckless arrogance. One let her game do the talking, the other let her mouth run while her game fell apart. And in the end, only one walked away with the win. Napheesa Collier, the true star of the night. So what's next for Angel Reese? Well, if history is any indication, she'll probably double down on the excuses, play the victim, and pretend like none of this ever happened. But the truth is, she got humbled in the worst way possible. The only question now is whether she'll actually learn from it, or if this is just another chapter in the never-ending saga of Angel Reese getting exposed. This is why Angel Reese's game is never going to get better, y'all. Her mom telling her this, and our fans are the same exact way. Zero accountability, bro. Imagine this, y'all. You playing basketball in front of the whole world. People have been constantly criticizing your game, and you messing up on the court. There's all this film and everything about what you need to do better and what you're messing up on. And your mom is just sitting here telling you, well, forget them. Just forget them, bro. Like, that's terrible advice. Right, might we see why Angel Reese is the way that she is, man. Look at how her mom is just talking to her, telling her, just forget them, bro. But then y'all are so mad that the world doesn't like her and talks so much about her, bro. As for Napheesa Collier, she just reminded everyone why she's the real deal. She doesn't need theatrics, doesn't need drama, just pure skill, composure, and a winning mentality. And after this game, one thing is crystal clear. Angel Reese is no Caitlin Clark, and she's definitely no Napheesa Collier either. Reese can keep running her mouth, but at the end of the day, basketball will always expose the truth. If she wants to be taken seriously, she needs to focus on improving her game instead of flexing after every rebound like she just won a championship. Until then, she'll continue to be nothing more than a loud distraction, while players like Collier and Clark cement themselves as the true future of the WNBA. As the final buzzer rang out, Angel Reese did what she always does. She looked for someone else to blame. She shot a glare at the refs, shook her head in disbelief, and acted as if the game had been stolen from her. Never mind the fact that she had single-handedly sabotaged her team with 7 turnovers, reckless fouls, and an inability to make a clutch shot when it mattered. Instead of owning up to her disastrous performance, she walked off the court with the same entitled attitude, refusing to acknowledge that she had been completely outclassed. And let's talk about the reaction, because it was brutal. The fans didn't hold back. As Reese exited the court, she was met with a wave of jeers, and social media wasted no time roasting her. Clip after clip of her worst plays flooded the internet, with fans pointing out just how badly she had been exposed. 1 minute she was flexing, acting like she was the toughest player in the league, and the next, she was getting clowned for one of the most embarrassing performances of her career. What was supposed to be her moment to shine had turned into an absolute disaster. Fans of Angel Reese, Barbie, are upset by commentary from YouTube videos and social media platforms. Angel Reese posted, "Using my name for clicks is literally a drug. We give people what they want, whatever they want to say. I'm not allowed to talk about her missing layups left and right, but she can go on her podcast and talk about Caitlin Clark or anything else that she wants to. But her supporters, oh, they're mad. Did you hit a rim? Did you not airball?" To the thousands of people that's watching on TV, it's a pretty poor-looking product on television. The announcers simply pretended Angel Reese airball on 3 didn't happen. Meanwhile, Napheesa Collier got the last laugh, both on the scoreboard and in the eyes of the basketball world. She didn't need to resort to trash talk or cheap shots. She simply played smart, disciplined basketball and delivered the ultimate dagger with a clutch game-winning shot. While Reese was busy trying to act tough, Collier was proving that true dominance comes from skill, not antics. This game was more than just a loss for Reese, it was a statement. She walked in thinking she was the star, but by the end of the night, she was nothing more than a punchline. And here's the real problem for Reese. This isn't just a one-time thing. This game exposed a pattern. Time and time again, she has leaned on theatrics, trying to intimidate opponents rather than actually outplaying them. But when the competition gets real, she folds. This was her chance to show she could dominate on the big stage, and instead, she crumbled under the pressure. Now, the big question is, where does Angel Reese go from here? The tough girl act is wearing thin, and after this humiliation, people are starting to see through it. The fans saw it, the media saw it, and most importantly, her opponents saw it. If she doesn't change her approach, this won't be the last time she gets exposed. So what do you think? Is this the beginning of the end for Angel Reese's tough girl facade? Or will she finally learn from her mistakes?